Hello, and welcome to Biology 1410. This is Introductory Biology for Health Science majors. So this is the course you want to be taking if your plans are to enroll in a program here at CNM through HWPS. So things like the nursing program, radiology, vet techs, programs like those. If your plan is to become a biology major, this isn't the class you want to be taking. The class you want to be taking here at CNM is Biology 1510, okay? But for the most part, most of you, this is going to be the correct class for you to be taking. It's health science majors here at CNM. And in terms of this particular class, this is an introductory class, so we are going to cover a lot of different topics, all right? So in terms of that, the class is going to feel kind of like it goes really, really fast, and that's because it will. We're going to cover a lot of topics, but we're not going to cover a lot of depth. So we're not going to have a whole lot of details, believe it or not. But we're going to cover a bunch of different topics. And what this class is really designed to do is to prepare you for your next set of classes. So it prepares you for taking classes like anatomy and physiology, microbiology. It kind of gives you the basics, and you can kind of consider this the building block for your next set of classes, all right? So as far as topics we're going to cover this semester, we'll talk about the scientific process and how to form a hypothesis. We'll talk a little bit about evolution and how selective processes can lead to particular traits in an environment. We'll talk a good bit this semester about cells. This is the part of the class that's going to become important for you when you take both anatomy and physiology and microbiology, all right? And in terms of that, one of the things that I was bummed to learn when I became a biology major was that I was going to have to know a good bit of chemistry. And we will cover some chemistry in this class, all right? But we're going to kind of cover the chemistry as it relates to cellular processes. So we're going to focus really on biological chemistry, which I think is more fun than other types of chemistry. But don't tell your chemistry professor that, okay? So there will be some chemistry. It's not going to be a large section of this class, but there will be some chemistry that we'll talk about as far as formations of bonds and things like that. If you've already had an introductory chemistry class, a lot of this will be review for you, okay? If you haven't had a chemistry class yet, or you're currently taking a chemistry class, intro chemistry class, this will kind of give you what you need to understand the biological chemistry that we're going to talk about this semester, all right? And one of the main things that we'll talk about as far as chemistry is the structure of DNA, all right, or deoxyribonucleic acid, all right? We will also talk about RNA, ribonucleic acid, and proteins will be a big part of this semester. We are also going to focus on cellular processes like cellular respiration and how cells get energy, all right? I'm going to give you a little hint here at the beginning. The energy that cells are going to use is primarily going to be ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. We'll talk about ATP when we talk about cellular respiration, all right? And in terms of that, it's a really important process to understand because as future healthcare providers, you need to kind of have a basis for understanding how metabolism works. And that's really what cellular respiration addresses, all right, is a lot of metabolism and energy balance, okay? We're going to cover things like enzymes. All right, enzymes are going to be a type of protein. Enzymes are going to be important in running chemical reactions in the body, all right? So in terms of that, enzymes are going to be a focus that we're going to talk about this semester. We'll talk about how genes and how DNA are going to be regulated. And typically when I talk about regulated, I'm talking about turning them on or turning them off. And that'll make more sense once we get to that portion of the semester. All right. So we've got how genes are regulated. We're also going to spend a good bit of time on genetics. All right. So how genes are inherited, how traits are inherited. All right. And in terms of genetics, this is my favorite part of the semester. Not that everything else is less exciting. This just happens to be my favorite because of my training. But what we'll discuss are how genes are passed on. We'll also go over how to predict potentially what gene a particular organism will acquire. Okay? So we've got genetics, and then we'll have a short bit at the end on biotechnology, because I think it's important for you as students to kind of know how biology really is applied. And that's what biotechnology is going to cover, is really the application of everything else that you're going to learn throughout the semester. Okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. We will start the first video as far as testable material on the scientific method and forming a hypothesis. All right, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Thank you for your attention.